Hey guys, William Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video on Gareth's Mini. So today we're going to be looking at the cooling system. Now I've got a new water pump, a thermostat and etc. for this car. The engine is still out, so it's time to just turn attention to this. So let's get stuck into it. This build series is proudly sponsored by Luntstone. Luntstone is a UK independent electrical engineering contractor delivering design, manufacturing, installation, commissioning and maintenance service expertise to a broad range of customers across the industrial, retail, educational and commercial sector. So if you want to find out more about Luntstone, please check out the website link in the description down below. Without further ado, let's get on to today's video. So here we go. Previously, I've removed everything. I've cleaned all the sort of maintenance surfaces up. I just need to go across on the thermostat housing and do that. But when I removed the thermostat, the bolts look like they're about to snap, especially this corner here. So I've been waiting on some new bits and pieces, and they've now arrived. So we've got new gaskets and new bolts. So that should hopefully rectify that issue. I'm just going to run a tap down all three of these, just to make sure that the threads are nice and clean. There's nothing in there that can potentially damage any of the threads, and then I'm going to copper grease the bolts when they go in to make sure that firstly they'll go in and out nice and freely, and secondly that they're not going to strip for the next person to take them out. So yeah, clean this maintenance surface up as well, and then thermostat can go in, gasket can go in, spacer plate can go in, gasket, and then the thermostat housing, or slightly different order, but ultimately that's what's going to go in. And then down here I've got the water pump. Now this area is already prepped. I've already got the new bolts. Now the existing bolts that came out were these ones here. Now they're like a built-in washer. In the pack had two spring washers, so I've replaced them for a flat washer. So effectively I am just making what was already there. So I've got new stainless bolts. I've been waiting on some clips, so they've arrived now for the bypass hose. And I've got the Mini Spares Evo high pressure, high power, high capacity water pump as well. That's going to go in. So just need to get the Highlander blue, and I'm going to run that around the gasket. That's going to get fitted in. This is going to be a bit of a pig to get in, but it's going to go up onto the bypass hose on the cylinder head, like so, off at an angle, and then the water pump can go on. Or, mounted to the water pump, it will get fitted in at a certain angle, pushed up, and the water pump will be located. Haven't decided yet. Either way will work. One maybe slightly more fiddly than the other. But yes, that's the plan for today. Get all the cooling system all sorted. We've got a new thermostat, gaskets and bolts, etc. So let's just crack on, get all this stuff installed, and then I think there's one more job to do on the engine, and then we can turn attention to the body. Okay, so I've got my Highlander blue. This is like a liquid gasket, and it's predominantly for your cooling systems. So it's like a bluey paste, like a gel actually. And what that does is it goes onto the gaskets, apply a nice bead both sides, and then when it gets mounted up, I can never remember how much of these goes. Yeah, when it gets mounted up like so, it will bond to the block, bond to the water pump, and then that'd be ideal. It will not leak, and it will make life a lot easier going forward and create a nice seal. So the only thing in this is it's a little bit like glue, so it goes on pretty thick. Now there's a potential that this may not be needed and it might be a little bit overkill, but I'd rather go too much than not enough in some areas. I'm going to make sure that none of it goes on the inside. It will get splurged out a little bit, but ultimately that's how you want it. That can then get mounted up onto the water pump, and then I can do the other side quickly now, and then mount it to the car. So it's on both sides. I can then 1. And 2. Let's go up onto the bypass hose, locate the impeller, and then longer bolts at the rear, shorter bolts at the front. So you want to make sure that when you turn the pump, the impeller doesn't catch on anything inside, which is fantastic. And then can wiggle these Jubilee clips into place. When that's that done, now my puller, my water pump pulley can go on. I'm just going to screw these on finger tight. So I'm going to wind them in just so far, just so they don't come off and they don't get caught in anything. And then we'll move on to the thermostat. Okay, cool. So you can see the thermostat. I'm going to just clean up the surface. Okay, so armed with a 5/16 tap and my tap tool, just want to slowly wind it in. Now these two here were pretty good. This far one was the culprit that had the biggest issue, I believe. So what the tap does, it just goes through and cleans the thread, so which means when they put the new bolts in, they'll wind in pretty easily. So this is the biggest issue, this one here. This is the one that felt like it was going to snap. Now it could just be the bolts, but I'm just going to run the tap down just to be sure. It's running pretty smoothly down here, so I'm pretty sure it's the bolt. New gaskets. Now these gaskets are very, very good quality. They're much thicker than the paper gasket that's used in here, so they shouldn't need any of the high, low and blue. Now they are offset, so they should only fit one way. And looking inside here, you can see it's all pretty corroded, which is why it's going to be a bit of a pig to try and get out. So, because the thermostat's going to get replaced, I've just used a screwdriver onto the thermostat housing, holding onto this casing and tapped it down, and it's now separated. And you can see inside how just corroded and cruddy it is. So it's a really good job we're replacing all these. So I need to replace the gasket, which will need to get peeled off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it onto the wire wheel I've got, and hopefully that will clean it up nicely. So this is the before. Okay, and that is the after. So I've gone across with the wire wheel. I've cleaned up all the mating surface, so that should now hopefully sit on there nicely. Just got to do the actual spacer plate and top and bottom, around the edges, and then we're ready to install. Okay, so one minor injury later, and these are now all cleaned up, ready to go back on. So, let's get them all positioned up. New thermostat put in. Okay, there we have it. That is now the thermostat replaced with new gaskets, new bolts, new thermostat, and it's also the water pump replaced with a new gasket, new water pump, new bolts, new bypass hose, and new Jubilee clips. So I'm really happy with how this has all turned out. And yeah, just now we're ready for the radiator to be installed into the car. Obviously the fan goes on, the fan belt, and then the lower hose and the upper hose to the radiator, and obviously the take-off hose for the latest style minis. So it's all looking good, it's all sealed, it's all watertight, and it's just a case of now fitting to the car, filling it with coolant, and away we go. But for now, this part of the job is complete. So I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the content, please hit the thumbs up button, comment down below, and if you haven't done so already, please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. Really means a lot to me. I'm super pleased with the way the channel's growing, and long may it continue. So plenty more stuff like this coming up. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Bye.